The Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength. And every general or flag officer is selected for leadership or promotion purely based on performance, readiness, and merit.
Boom. If you put in discount code SEAL20, get 20% off. If you're a part of the Tatum Squad, obviously we sent in the community tab a greater discount, and we'll continue to give special things to the people that are a part of the Tatum Squad. If you want to join the Tatum Squad, you can join it today. Obviously, there's 2 tiers. We updated the tiers on Tatum Squad, so take a look at that. But here's some of our brand new merch. We got some of these products here. All right, my favorite shirt is the Trump Dance. We got a whole bunch of stuff, hats, all of the above. We have it. Now, the doormat is my absolute favorite. We sold out of this within 30 minutes. However, if you want the doormat, we're producing them right now as we speak, and you hit notify me when made available if you get to this to notify. There's nearly 1,000 people that have hit notify when made available. I'm telling you right now, when we make it active, we don't have 1,000. So we're going to have a small amount that we can do at a time, so we don't have a big back stock of thousands of these things, and then people ain't getting them for months. All right, so if you go down here, you'll see the section where the Los Angeles ruled by Democrats. You'll see this, and it says 100% of the profits donated to victims and fire departments affected by this Los Angeles crisis. So you can go on and click on this, buy as much as you want, as much as you can. All the proceeds will go. I'll let you guys know in the community tab how much money we have as proceeds from that product, and then I'm gonna let you know where we're gonna disperse it. Like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bells to get notifications. Anytime I go live and make a video, y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearing was out of control. I just want you to know, if you hadn't seen it, it's out of control. Let me preface it real quick, and then I'm gonna have Pete Hegseth give his own opening statement, and then we're gonna go through the ridiculousness of Democrats. Let's start off with some of the things that have been concerning, at least the naysayers that are concerning. For me, Pete Hegseth, I didn't like the fact that he cheated on his wives. Maybe he cheated more than twice. I didn't like that he can't keep his weenie in his pants in the past. I don't like that part of Pete Hegseth, right? I think that a man needs to have enough integrity not to go ahead and do that. And then he ended up messing with some chick to say he raped her. Now, I looked at the clip. I mean, not the clip. Ain't no clip of it. I looked at the report. All that I've discovered, that girl lying like a mud. She probably should go to hell for lying like that. Cheating on her husband at the hotel room. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. So obviously that was something that was on his record, but here's a couple things that people have been saying that are naysayers. I think the guy should be confirmed because Donald Trump believes he should be confirmed, and you don't have to be perfect to be in the office. It's better to be an imperfect person who has the right motives than a crook like the Democrats have been putting in office. Allegations that they have posed to him, sexual misconduct, which the assault against that woman, which was completely false. She should go to jail for that. Financial mismanagement, inappropriate workplace behavior, and he denied the allegations, labeling them as coordinated smear campaigns. That's what Pete Hegseth said, according to the Wall Street Journal. And then also the Democrats are saying that they think that Pete Hegseth lacks qualification, citing a lack of high-level political or business experience. Hegseth acknowledges his unconventional background, but was enthusiastic about his combat experience and his competence. And I think that that's where we go with it. I think Pete Hegseth is a good candidate because he's competent. Listen, I don't give a flying flip about all these credentialized accomplishments people claim that they have. On a piece of paper, I'm this. On a piece of paper, I'm that. I think a person who's running or should have leadership over the military should be a person who served in a combat zone. You have to be a combat veteran. You can't just serve in look, I respect anybody that's willing to put their neck out there for us. But just serving in the military and your MOS is like carpentry or something, that's not enough to claim that you are co-equal or just as good as a person who has the experience putting their life on the line physically, being in the combat zone, in the trenches, eating MREs and all the other stuff that they have to do. That's on a different level. You understand what the grunts do. That's why you can better serve them. Now, it's good to have a plethora of experience, but But you can't say a man ain't got no experience when he was fighting for this country. I don't care what other credentials you have. If you fought, it's a good chance that you understand how this stuff works. But let's play Pete Hegseth's opening statement.
The Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength. And in pursuing these America First national security goals will remain patriotically apolitical and stridently constitutional. Unlike the current administration, politics should play no part in military matters. We are not Republicans. We are not Democrats. We are American warriors. Our standards will be high and they will be equal, not equitable. That's a very different word. We need to make sure every warrior is fully qualified on their assigned weapon system, every pilot's fully qualified and current on the aircraft they are flying, and every general or flag officer is selected for leadership or promotion purely based on performance, readiness, and merit. Leaders at all levels will be held accountable, and warfighting and lethality and the readiness of the troops and their families will be our only focus. This has been my focus ever since I first put on the uniform as a young Army ROTC cadet at Princeton University in 2001. I joined the military because I love my country and felt an obligation to defend it. I served with incredible Americans in Guantanamo Bay, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and on the streets of Washington, D.C., many of which are with me here today. This includes enlisted soldiers I helped become American citizens, and Muslim allies I helped immigrate from Iraq and Afghanistan. Because when I took off the uniform, my mission never stopped. Now, it is true and has been acknowledged that I don't have a similar biography to defense secretaries of the last 30 years. But as President Trump also told me, we've repeatedly placed people atop the Pentagon with supposedly the right credentials, whether they are retired generals, academics, or defense contractor executives. And where has it gotten us? He believes, and I humbly agree, that it's time to give someone with dust on his boots the helm, a change agent, someone with no vested interest in certain companies or specific programs or approved narratives. My only special interest is the warfighter, deterring wars and, if called upon, winning wars by ensuring our warriors never enter a fair fight. We let them win and we bring them home. Like many of my generation, I've been there. I've led troops in combat. I've been on patrol for days. I've pulled the trigger down range, heard bullets whiz by, flex-cuffed insurgents, called in close air support, led medevacs, dodged IEDs, pulled out dead bodies, and knelt before a battlefield cross. This is not academic for me. This is my life. I led then, and I will lead now. Ask anyone who's ever worked for me or with me. I know what I don't know. My success as a leader, and I very much look forward to discussing my organization's successes at Vets for Freedom and Concerned Veterans for America. I'm incredibly proud of the work that we've done. But my success as a leader has always been setting a clear vision, hiring people smarter and more capable than me, empowering them to succeed, holding everyone accountable, and driving toward clear metrics. Build the plan, work the plan, and then work harder than everyone else around you. I've sworn an oath to the Constitution before, and if confirmed, I will proudly do it again. This time, for the most important deployment of my life. I pledge to be a faithful partner to this committee, taking input and respecting oversight. We share the same goals: a ready, lethal military, the health and well-being of our troops, and a strong and secure America. Thank you for the time, and I look forward to your questions.
Somebody drop the mic for him. Take the little mic right here, take that little one, and just drop it off. Just drop it on the table.
Boom. Hang on.
How could you argue with that? How can you argue with the premise? But yet, we all know if you're a Democrat, you can't just love America. You can't just say, welcome, Pete. We know you have a history just like the rest of us. Some of us got a worse history than you. They ain't found out yet. But you sound like you know what you're doing. You sound like you love the country. Shout out to your service. You had your boots on the ground. You fought the good fight. Yeah, in the past, you probably drank a little too much and couldn't keep your thing in your pants. But listen, That was years ago. He seems like a changed man to me. Get a man a chance. Donald Trump won. We trust Donald Trump's decision making, and Donald Trump wants this man to be in a position as a defense secretary. Come on, why the Democrats got something to say? Okay, here they go. Let's see if Gillibrand has anything reasonable to confront him with. Roll it.
In the DOD, everything you've said in these public statements is politics. I don't want women. I don't want moms. What's wrong with a mom, by the way? Once you have babies, you therefore are no longer able to be lethal. I mean, you're basically saying women, after they have children, can't ever serve in the military in a combat role. It's a silly thing to say. It's a silly thing to say, beneath the position that you are aspiring to. To denigrate LGBTQ service members is a mistake. If you are a sharpshooter, you're as lethal regardless of what your gender identity is, regardless of who you love. So please know this to be a true statement. So you say it was a political thing. You say it undermined us, social engineering. I don't know why someone having to publicly say or not publicly say who they love.
I appreciate your comments.
Hold on.
And I would point out.
Pete is going to respond, but a sharpshooter? You mean a sniper? I don't know what a sharpshooter is. Just the fact that this woman is raising her voice at Pete Hegseth makes me upset just a little bit. So she already started off on the wrong page. But ma'am, you have not said anything about military readiness and effectiveness. You're talking politics. You said your complaint of political, not effectiveness, and can the man do his job? Roll the clip. Pete, come on, Pete.
I've never disparaged women serving in the military. I respect every single female service member that has put on the uniform, past and present. My critiques, Senator, recently and in the past, and from personal experience, have been instances where I've seen standards lowered, and you mentioned 11 Alpha, 11 Bravo, MOS, places in units, and the book that has been referenced multiple times here, The War on Warriors. I spent months talking to active duty service members, men and women, low ranks, high ranks, combat arms and not combat arms. And what each and every one of them told me, and which personal instances have shown me, is that in ways direct, indirect, overt, and subtle, standards have been changed inside infantry training units, ranger school, infantry battalions, to ensure that
commanders meet. Give me one example. Please give me an example. I get you're making these generalized statements.
Commanders meet quotas to have a certain number of female infantry officers or infantry enlisted, and that disparages those women
Commanders
who are
do not have to meet quotas for the infantry. Commanders do not have to have a quota for women in the infantry. That does not exist. It does not exist. And your statements are creating the impression that these exist, because they do not. There are not quotas. We want the most lethal force. But I'm telling you, having been here for 15 years, listening to testimony about men and women in combat and the type of operations that were successful in Afghanistan and in Iraq, women were essential for many of those units. When Ranger units went in to find where the terrorists hiding in Afghanistan or in Iraq, if they had a woman in the unit, they could go in, talk to the women in a village, say, where are the terrorists hiding? Where are the weapons hiding? And get crucial information to make sure that we can win that battle. So you cannot denigrate women in general, and your statements do that. We don't want women in the military, especially in combat. What a terrible statement. So please, do not deny that you've made those statements. You have. We take the responsibility of standards very seriously, and we will work with you. I'm equally distressed you would not meet with me before this hearing. We could have covered all of this before you came here, so I could get to the 15 other questions that I want to get to. So women you have denigrated. You have also denigrated members of the
what an idiot. First of all, denigration and an observation are two different things. Denigrating is without merit, saying that women shouldn't be in the military whatsoever. All Pete Hegseth said was that women, if you're dumbing down the standards to get women in, that is detrimental to the overall mission of the military's deployment, right? Same with women. If women meet standard with men, or whatever standard that we have, and women are meeting or going above that standard, and then you got women that's below that standard, what does that do to the women that have worked hard, that have put in the work, that are qualified at this level and higher? It's okay that you let women below that. Here's the thing that I think people don't understand about military. They do this in the police department as well. A man has a standard here. Women have a standard here. Women can be below a male standard, but the male can't be below a male standard, which means that there are opportunities for weaker men that could be cops, but they ain't going to be a cop if they this weak. Women should be at the level of men, but they give them a lower standard. So they don't have to be to the average man on the police department. Women don't have to be physically capable. It's a physicality, demeanor, all this stuff is important. I was a cop, and we're going to go to the next one. Pull up the next one. I was a cop, and I can say that men and many women alike were frustrated with these DEI hires. If you look at a lot of the controversial stuff, a lot of it happened with women.
Mr. Hegseth, do you know what percentage of our military is comprised of women?
I believe it's 18 to 20%, Senator.
It's almost 18%, and in fact, DOD's 2023 demographic report indicated that there are more women serving now, and there are fewer separations. So they make up a critical part of our military, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, ma'am. Women in our military, as I have said publicly, have and continue to make amazing contributions across all aspects of our battlefield.
Well, you also write in your book, The War on Warriors, with the chapter, The Deadly Obsession with Women Warriors, that, quote, not only are women comparatively less effective than men in combat roles, but they are more likely to be objectified by the enemy and their own nation in the moral realms of war. Mr. Hegseth, should we take it to believe that you believe that the two women on this committee who have served honorably and with distinction made our military less effective and less capable?
I'm incredibly grateful for the two women who've served our military in uniform, and including in the Central Intelligence Agency, contributions on the battlefield, indispensable contribution. Senator, I would like to clarify, when I'm talking about that issue, it's not about the capabilities of men and women, it's about standards. And this committee has talked a lot about standards. Standards that we, unfortunately, over time, have seen eroded in certain duty positions, certain schools, certain places, which affects readiness, which is what I care about the most, readiness on the battlefield.
I appreciate that.
I don't know why we got to be PC. On average, men in combat are better than women in combat. You want to bet me? Bring your best woman up here, and I'll whoop her right here in front of this thing. And I'm not even a combat soldier. Let's just be honest, okay? Are there women that are effective in the military? Yes. Are there women that have essential jobs in the military that do very well? Yes. On average, men and women are not equal in combat readiness. Are there some women that are more equipped in combat than men? Yes. Put the women up in a combat where they had the women doing the gauntlet thing. Women out there just getting raked over the coals. They're not even close. They can't even compete with the men. Why do you think that men, for instance, when I was a police officer and we had to do the red man fight, now they too weak to do red man fight. Now they're scared you're going to scratch your toenails. And I'm not saying the cops, I'm saying the departments. We used to have to do red man, 3-minute fight, all out, come back in the classroom, blood run out your nose, breathing hard, scratch all over your face. I remember I had to fight. I couldn't even open my mouth for like a day and a half because I just got beat up right here. Boom, 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 boom. I won that fight if it was a street fight. But when it went time to arrest him, he got me. But why don't red man women fight men? Women, do you really want a war with men? I'm just asking. Do y'all really want to go down this path? I get so frustrated with women, and it almost creates misogyny. Because women, can you just do what you do good and let men do what they do good? And can we both respect one another? Why do women have to try to act as if they can do everything better than men? Just because you go to a university and get a piece of paper, because you're probably more organized than men are, generally speaking, don't mean that you're better than men. That's why a lot of y'all single and gonna die alone with a little dog on your arm, getting ran through, and then complaining later in life because you ain't got no kids in the family. Y'all gotta stop acting like you somehow better than men. The competition ain't men. The competition is you versus you.
Would you use our military to take over Greenland or an ally of Denmark?
Senator, one of the things that President Trump is so good at is never strategically tipping his hand. And so I would never in this public forum give one way or another direct what orders the president would give me in any context.
That sounds to me that you would contemplate carrying out such an order to basically invade Greenland, Panama Canal, by enforcing the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. In addition to the sexual assault allegations, and by the way, the answer to my second question should have been yes. I have read multiple reports of your regularly being drunk at work, including by people who worked with you at Fox News. Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
Senator, those
Yes
are
or no?
multiple false anonymous reports peddled by NBC
Do you
News
know that
run directly
drinking on the job
contradictory
is
to the dozens of men and women at
not
Fox News
contemplated
Channel
on it?
who I work with
I'm
who
not
came
hearing
on
the
the
answer to my
record
question.
and said they've
In your
never
opening
seen
statement,
that.
Mr. Hegseth, you
Now, was he drunk on the job? Maybe. I don't know if I believe what he said, but she don't know if he's telling the truth or not. So in a truthful and impartial way, if there's people that's saying he wasn't drunk and there's people that's saying he was drunk, it's fair to say you don't know if he was or not, so you can't make that derogatory claim. I don't like the way Pete Hegseth is answering some of these questions. Right. I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't know if his lawyer is telling him to be this way or not.
And then 10 weeks ago, you appeared on the Sean Ryan show and said, I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. I presume you recall making all these statements?
Senator, I'm not familiar with the article you're pointing to in 2013, but it underscores my argument completely because in that 2013 argument, I was talking about standards. Standards are what it's always been about,
Let's not
Senator.
have this same fight again.
Always been about Senate
I've quoted
standards.
you directly. We've got the video. We're happy to show it. But I want to be clear here. For 12 years, you were quite open about your views, and your views were consistently the same. Women are inferior soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and guardians.
Yes.
And in case anyone missed the point, and these are your words from 10 weeks ago, women absolutely straight up should not be permitted to serve in combat. And I notice on each of these quotes, those are said without qualification. It's not by how much you can lift or how fast you can run. They don't belong in combat, period, or your words, straight up. And then on November 9th, 2024, just 32 days after your last public comment saying that women absolutely should not be in combat, you declared that, quote, some of our greatest warriors are women, and you support having them serve in combat. Now, that is a very, very big about face in a very, very short period of time.
Thanks. Hold on. Did she just say about face? Did she just try to make a military reference? Did she really, the woman who faked like she was an Indian, she literally said she was Native and she got into a university under the guise of being a minority with a Native DNA background. And then she come out and she's 1/1000th of a Native. What? You are talking to him about anything? You did it while you were in Congress. You should get that money back. That's a fraud. You committed a fraud. And you want people to think you're Indian.
So help me understand, Mr. Hegseth, what extraordinary event happened in that 32-day period that made you change the core values you had expressed for the preceding 12 years?
Senator, again, I very much appreciate you bringing up my comments from 2013 because for me, this issue has always been about standards. And unfortunately, because of some of the people that have been in political power for the last 4 years, priorities other than standards, lethality, and meritocracy have driven decision-making.
I'm quoting you from the podcast. Women shouldn't be in combat at all. Where is the reference to standards? That they should be there if they can carry, if they can run? I don't see that at all, Mr. Hegseth. What I see is that there's a 32-day period in which
I'm done with her. I can't listen to this hag anymore. The truth is, I get what Pete Hegseth is saying because I've heard him talk about it. He is talking about lethality and standards. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking. This is my opinion, my experience. Women. There's a lot of good women out there. There's a lot of good, capable women that can outdo men. It's just not a lot of them. I mean, when I say it's a lot of them, meaning that generally speaking, there's a lot of them, but when concentrated, there's not enough for them to have as much representation on some of these departments. Let's just be honest, man. Can we be honest? We want inclusivity. We want women to have a voice. We want women to be a part of the military in almost every aspect as men are. That's what we want. That's not the most effective way to do it, but that's the way we want to do it. Women's sport. We want women to have sports that are comparable to men's sports. Although they are trash in most of it, and most people are not going to watch it unless they showing booty and chest. But we do it anyway because we don't want a society where women feel like they don't have equality in this country. Let's just be honest. It's not about qualification and military readiness. If it was just about that, there would be a lot of men that wouldn't be in it, and there definitely would be hardly no women in it. But that's not what we care about as a country. Let's just say that and quit trying to pigeonhole or corner Pete Hegseth in trying to acknowledge something because it's politically correct. I think we didn't beat the dead horse on this one. All right, it's enough. It's enough. Go watch the full thing if you want to see it.